any ordinances on second reading? Ordinance on first reading. We have ordinance 071301, which is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, chapter 10, vehicles and traffic stop intersections. This is to an intersection of Byers Street and Kirkpatrick Street. Stop signs installed at Byers Street westbound. Revised intersection of Byers Street and Kirkpatrick Street. Stop signs installed at Kirkpatrick northbound. Intersection of Kirkpatrick and Byers Street. Stop sign installed at Kirkpatrick Street southbound. Intersection of Kirkpatrick and Patterson Street. Stop signs installed at Kirkpatrick northbound. And intersection of Kirkpatrick and Patterson Street. Stop signs installed at Kirkpatrick Street southbound. Resolutions. We have resolution 071301, it's a resolution to approve agenda amendments. Resolution 302, approve payroll 6/8/13 to 6/21/13. Resolution 303 is a resolution authorizing refund for redeemed tax sales certificates. Resolution 304, approve requisite temporary appropriations for 2013. Resolution 305, approve amendment of resolution 111-239. The reason is to pay legal fees in the amount of $289 to Lawrence Peterman Esquire for Rodriguez versus New Brunswick, representing Police Detective Christopher Bornheimer from 1,037 to 1,326. Resolution 206, approve amendment of resolution 051363. The reason to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $537.30 to Bill Wallach, the LP, for the matter of Ian versus Wandago from $52,345 to 93 to $52,883 to 23 cents. Resolution 307, authorize application acceptance and execution of grant agreement for 2013 dry sober or debt pullover grant. Resolution 308, authorized purchase by the Department of Public Works on the state contract A-83011 from Hertford Fleet Services for one 2014 Jeep Patriot four-wheel drive four-door sport not to exceed $17,093. Resolution 309, approve of works contract request for, what is that, Mr. Hernandez?
Request for qualifications.
Qualifications, okay. Insurance brokerage services, HMO, to corporate synergies. Resolution 310, approve of work contract RFQ, insurance brokerage services, provisional to Business and Government Insurance Agency, BGIA. Resolution 211, approve renewal of agreement with Cigna Healthcare, HMO. The term is July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2014, non-proton. Resolution 312, approve renewal of agreement for consulting services with Aetna Healthcare, traditional and POS contract. Term is July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2014, non-proton. Resolution 313, approve request for use of city property requested by ROCC Entertainment. The location is Memorial Stadium softball field, concrete area near the softball field and water fountain for kickball tournament for the community on Saturday, July 27, 2013. The time is from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Resolution 314, approve relaxation of city noise ordinance and road closure requested by Sky High Erectors and Equipment. The reason is frame replacement on 10 Plum Street on Saturday, July 13, 2013, with an alternate date of Saturday, July 20th, 2013, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Resolution 315 is a resolution to approve amendment of resolution 051368, change order number 2 with Tecton Development Corporation for Branson Avenue Fire Museum and Community Center. The amount is $17,992.73. Approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. Resolution 316, authorize tax collector to transfer overpayments on several tax and utility accounts. Resolution 317, Approve award of contract and authorization to reject low bidder to the Plumbing Supply Corporation to furnish and deliver free fire hydrants and spare parts, not to exceed $44,965.28. Resolution to approve request for street closing requested by the Bronx Cultural Center. The street location is Livingston Avenue between George Street and the Holiday Hotel for second annual Hub City Sounds on Saturday, September 14, 2013, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Resolution 319, approve amendment of resolution 061371, add to dates and change times for 2 prior dates. Approve request for use of city property requested by the Brunswick Cultural Center. Location is Boyd Park for the second annual Hub City Sounds Music Concert Series. Days and times, Saturdays, August 10th, 2013, and September 7th, 2013, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and September 21st, 2013, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., and September 28th, 2013, from 12:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Dates and times on Sundays, on August 11th, 2013, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., and September 8th, 2013, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Resolution 320 is a resolution to approve award of contract for roof recoating at the New Brunswick DPW Administration Building, not to exceed $41,599. Resolution 321, approve award of contract for 2013-2014 miscellaneous supplemental engineering services, not to exceed $70,000 per annum. Resolution 322, approve ABC license renewals. Resolution 323, approve renewal for 2013-2014 liquor license with conditions for the Gala Cafe and Restaurant, creating as the Gala Cafe and Restaurant, 156 Commercial Avenue. Resolution 324, approve request for use of city property requested by Faithful Baptist Church. Location is Recreation Park for church worship service, singing, talent demonstration, and religious preaching on Saturday, September 21st, 2013, from 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. with a rain date of Saturday, September 28th, 2013, from 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Resolution 325, approve request for use of city property requested by New Brunswick Recreation Department and Johnson & Johnson Honor. The location is Memorial Stadium for the 24th annual Honor Track Meet on Saturday, July 13, 2013, from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Resolution 326, approve renewal for 2013-2014 liquor license with conditions for La Famosa Inc., trading as La Famosa, 117 Branson Avenue. Resolution 327, approve relaxation of the city noise ordinance requested by AAA Painting Group. Location 366 George Street on July 8, 2013 to July 12, 2013, with alternate dates of July 15, 2013 to July 19, 2013, from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's concludes the review of the agenda. At this time, let me come forward. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Council Vice President Egan.
Here.
Councilmember Fleming.
Here.
Councilmember Garlotti. Present. Council President Escobar.
Here. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been complied with and satisfied with that the annual notice, which gives sufficient notice of the time and place and conduct of all public meetings of the Municipal Council of the City of New Brunswick, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall, New Brunswick, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the City of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Review. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please let's pause for a moment to honor those Americans and Afghans who have lost their lives in the war in Afghanistan. Thank you. This time, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the June 19th.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. We don't have any ordinances on second reading. We have an ordinance on first reading, which is ordinance 071301, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, chapter 10, vehicles and traffic, stop intersections. To add intersection of Byers Street and Kirkpatrick Street, stop signs installed at Byers Street westbound. And revise intersection of Byers and Kirkpatrick, stop signs installed at Kirkpatrick Street northbound. Intersection of Kirkpatrick and Byers Street, stop signs installed at Kirkpatrick Street southbound. Intersection of Kirkpatrick and Patterson, stop sign installed at Kirkpatrick Street northbound. And intersection of Kirkpatrick and Patterson Street, stop signs installed at Kirkpatrick Street southbound. And the ordinance-
Is this a four-way, I think?
Three.
Yeah, the fourth direction is not possible. That would be coming from Joyce Kilmer on Byers, but the idea is to control that intersection better with at least 3 stop signs.
This obviously is going to be new for a lot of people, so can we also do whatever we else can do for stops, like stop on the street, the word itself? People are going to be so used to going through that. I don't know if there's anything else.
Some are used to it already.
Yeah.
I will discuss that with the city engineer, sure.
I was going to move forward with this week. Setting down July 17th at 5:30 p.m. for the public hearing, the same date. Yeah.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. We have resolutions 071301 to resolution 071327. Anybody has any questions? The public, any questions about these resolutions? Mr. Farrell? Just as a reminder, we have the microphone now. Just walk to the microphone, state your name and address the council.
Charles Cradaville, 5th Ward, New Brunswick. I had a few questions. Most of them are about these number 9, 10, 11, and 12, are all dealing with the health insurance the city is purchasing. I wanted to ask if somebody could explain how those decisions were arrived at, and why it wasn't in some cases publicly bid out.
So I'm gonna-
They were in fact publicly bid out. We requested proposals publicly. We published those notices in the paper as we typically would. We entertained any quotation that anyone wanted to make. And in both cases, on 9 and 10, I determined that having reviewed the proposals that we opened, that these were the most advantageous to us.
Thank you.
And for 11 and 12, those are non-pro-tunc. What does that mean?
Means retroactive to July 1st.
Okay. I thought
There
that,
we,
my apologies, and I thought that meant that it was not publicly bid, but that's incorrect.
well, our brokers recommended these 2 proposals. In each case, the Cigna and the Aetna plans are renewals from previous years. But the Cigna renewal is for less than 2.3% increase, and we thought that was still a plan that we wanted to continue to offer our employees. And then on the Aetna side, which is the much larger of the plans, we had multiple quotations from other carriers provided to us, and we also did a test on whether it made sense for us to join the state health benefits plan. In each case, we were comfortable with renewing with that for another year.
But insurance as insurance is not required to be bid under the local public contracts law.
Understood.
Any other questions?
Yeah, and so the broker was BGIA, and for how many years has the city done business with them? Approximately.
Close to 10.
And 2 more questions about 22 and 23, just really in relation to the hearing last week on the dollar. Just to be clear, the conditions are all clean capped.
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishes to address the council on these resolutions? Having none?
Move the resolutions?
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Before we start the public portion of the meeting, I just want to speak forth. There was some of us, I'm pretty sure some of you here, received a notice in the water quality report. And New Brunswick had a little, a minor incident related to the water, that were
Turbidity, we missed the turbidity level for about 4 hours
Oh,
on
June.
June 12th, excuse me.
Yes, so if you just have Mr. Master, give us a little report on that, please.
Yeah, we,
Microphone, stay.
on June 12th, we exceeded the acceptable turbidity level for the finished water leaving the water plant. Turbidity is a measure of the filter quality of the water. In New Jersey, the quality of drinking water is regulated by the Department of Environmental Protection, and there's certain events as a matter of public health that are reportable to the department. This is one of those events. A worst-case scenario is assumed until you have consultation with the DEP. There's 24 hours that you have to report this. This particular event was reported within hours. With consultation with the DEP, they queried several bits of information from us. And it's the department that determines what the immediate threat to public health is, what the appropriate action is, and what the public notification is if needed. After the consultation, which happened that evening, the Department of Environmental Protection decided that this was not an immediate threat to life and health, that 24-hour public notice was not needed, that a boil water advisory was not needed, and that we were obligated to notify the public that this happened within 30 days. That the public has a right to know that this occurred, and that would be satisfied with a public notification within 30 days. Again, this is the Department of Environmental Protection that makes this decision, not the city and not I.
Thank you.
I would say we satisfied the notification by including a description of the event in the consumer confidence report that everyone has received on or about July 1st. We've also posted the report on the city web page. It's also on Facebook and Twitter as well. It's all to the satisfaction of the DEP.
Even though not required, we still took follow-up samples, bacteriological samples, several days following the event within the distribution system to ensure that the quality was not compromised. We did not have any positive results, anything that was indicative of a deterioration of the water quality.
Did the city contact the hospital just to be sure that?
Yes, Robert Wood Johnson was contacted, and St. Peter's was contacted, as was the county health department. There was no incidents, and nobody reported any incidents of higher incidents of people being admitted with gastrointestinal distress, which would be indicative of a waterborne situation.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to open the floor for the public to come to address the city council at this moment. Just coming to the way until you acknowledge, coming to the microphone, state your name and address. Anybody for the public wishes to address the council at this time?
Good evening, Charles Cradaville, 5th Ward, New Brunswick. I have a few questions. I wanted to start by asking about the water quality issue. What was the cause of the problem, and what's being done to prevent that from happening again?
You could answer, please.
The water treatment plant and the pump stations are in the midst of some significant upgrades, and everything is done. Communications between the various unit processes are done through a computer. We were upgrading the communications from one of the pump stations to the treatment plant. We had to deactivate one of what they call a PLC, which is a fancy word for a computer, which inadvertently turned one of the chemical feed pumps off. And that caused us to underfeed a certain chemical that caused the turbidity to exceed. And that was discovered within, I'm going to say within 3 hours. We figured it out that had happened. There's significant upgrades, ongoing upgrades being done. There's also a review of procedures and policies to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also wanted to ask about the one of the tax evated properties, the Matrix development that's going up right now. Could somebody tell me what the situation is over there and whether the apartments are going to be built and at what time they'll be built?
Well, I just heard about the matrix in York today. So you should know all these questions already, but we'll get you. Mr. Patterson is not here to give you, but I appreciate you did a very in-depth article on it. Mr. Larkin, do you have anything else to add on that? Because I don't have any information.
I don't have the information he is seeking at the moment. I can either ask Glenn to provide it or double check the file that I have. I'm sorry.
Thank
Sorry
you.
for you for the
I
next.
have to give all the credit, Richard Rabinowitz was the author of that.
Yes,
I think he did a great job. Yeah, and so the reason I'm concerned is because I saw them packing up the crane today, and I'm not sure if that means that they're stalling out the construction, or if they're just done with the part that needs the crane, and the next part won't use a crane.
We will get that information for you for the next meeting. We don't have that information at this time.
Thank you. I wanted to ask if the city has a position on a piece of legislation that would been referred to as a tax or a fee on hospitals, and I know it would affect New Brunswick. Does the city have a position on it?
I don't have any information on that, so I will not make any comments. Staff has sufficient information to make.
That's fair. I'll email you the article I read, and maybe you can get back to me. And I guess I wanted to ask about some of the boards and commissions. I know the Traffic Commission is supposedly scheduled to meet tomorrow. Can anybody tell me if they're actually going to be meeting here at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow?
If it says that it's, I don't have the schedule with me, and Mr. Machera is out on vacation, Mr. Larkin, do you have any idea of
I'm sure there will be no meeting, no such meeting tomorrow.
July 4th, actually?
July 4th, yes. The building will be closed, and I don't know what arrangements they have made for the next meeting.
That's fine. The problem here is that it's been now 2 months since they've had a legitimate meeting. And I know the Taxi Service Council was supposed to meet today, and I came to the meeting, and Mr. Teresi came to the meeting, Mr. Hamilton came to the meeting, but no one else. And this sort of fits the pattern of the Minority Business Enterprise Commission has no members, hasn't met in years. I know the
But
Cable
the
TV.
taxi commission has members, it's just that they didn't show up to the meeting, right? So the meeting took place, it's just that they didn't show up.
Right, and that's a
So it's
concern.
totally different, I don't have members.
Right, well, I was talking about the MBEC, the Minority Business Enterprise Commission. They don't have any members listed, but they're still listed as being an official commission. The Cable TV Advisory Commission has 2 members. They need like 5, and they haven't met in years. The Human Relations Commission, you pledged to
Yes.
restart that. I know it has 15 members, but hasn't announced any meetings or done any work that we can tell. And then the Emergency Management Council, which we went through last week, is perhaps operating under another name with, an unknown list of members and no public meetings. But the Emergency Management Council is not meeting in the manner
We
that it
haven't,
should.
if they didn't meet up, we didn't have it, we would have been in trouble to Sandy, and they did an excellent job when Sandy happened.
Can I just say
And
that
it's just-
I agree on that.
I want to respond to the word perhaps. There is a emergency management committee that, again, is established by resolution. The names of the people on that committee are clearly stated in the resolution. There really isn't any mystery with respect to it.
Yeah, and that's why I said, because through Sandy and everything else, they had done an excellent job.
Sure.
So they are meeting.
Could the proper members of the commission be listed for the public on the city
Well, they
website?
have been, we have them here, but if you want the members, we could get you a list of all the members who are part of that committee.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. And then, like last week, something was passed related to another committee that I've never heard of before, the New Brunswick Alliance, something to do with, drug policy.
That's the New Brunswick Alliance on Drugs and Alcohol. Dave, let me see, Dave, if you want to talk a little bit about that, you could just, if you could come into the microphone, please, so that we can have it.
Mr. Credible is right that they have not met recently. We just received last week the contract from the county. So now that we have the contract, we will have to meet to implement the programs that were approved. So, as I said, he was correct that we had not met recently, but we were waiting on the approval of the contract.
But the Alliance has been existing for many years.
Oh, yes, the
They have some
Alliance has
programs that
been-
they have done
The Alliance has actually been functioning since 1991 and meets periodically as needed, not on a regular schedule.
And can you talk a little bit about the programs that we have?
Yes, the Alliance is a part actually of the New Brunswick Youth Services System. Most of the activity is revolving around life skills training for children in the after-school programs. We have funded a Teens Helping Teens program where the teenagers mentor the younger children. We have something called a Talking with TJ program, which is for third graders, that focuses on the life skills thing that I mentioned. We trained our staff through the University of Medicine and Dentistry Social Decision-Making program. I believe actually we also trained some Civic League and PRAM staff at one time. So most of those things have functioned through the after-school program that the youth services system operates. I can provide Mr. Credible with more detailed things about each activity. The new contract that I mentioned specifies new things that we will be doing.
Thank you. And I also, in the past, the kids have been involved in participants doing a calendar with drawings and messages about drug and alcohol prevention. So it's a very big, we have been doing it for many years.
And I can share any of that past information. For example, you mentioned the calendar, which we did for many years, and I have old examples of that. So.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Okay, certainly.
Thank you very much. I guess as far as those two new commissions that I hadn't heard of before, I would just ask that the membership be added to the board of the directory of boards and commissions on the city website, and that they have public meetings, that they do the same thing that the other commissions do to get the word out about those public meetings. So that would be the Emergency Preparedness Committee and the New Brunswick Alliance. I would hope to see them added to the list of official boards and commissions. And obviously I'd like to see something done to address the other inactive ones that I pointed out. That's all I have. I guess the Environmental Commission did meet, and that was good. So.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Anybody else from the public wishes to address the council at this time?
From Pippin to 91 Simi Street. First, I want to start by saying I give my condolences to the 19 firefighters that lost their lives in Arizona. And also, I think we all should reflect on the brave firefighter that we lost in 2004. What's his name? Jim? Yes. Lee Avenue. So, that's a time for us to reflect on the one that we lost also. I'll be real quick. I know everybody want to get out to their families, holiday season. I just want to know what's the update on looking into the conduct of Officer Weiss. It's only one question. That's the only question I have today. Because Captain Sabo said that he would look into it, and of course you guys heard, it's probably the third meeting of people coming forward about his conduct. And I just want to know, are you guys taking it serious? Is the captain taking it serious? Did he actually do that? And if so, being a member of the public, I'd like to know what's the status on that small, investigation, looking into the conduct of this.
Well, I know that Captain Sebo said that he would address the supervisor of Officer Weiss or Detective Weiss, I don't know what he is. And then, but it was never a formal investigation because for an investigation we need a complaint. But I don't know if Captain Miller, do you have any?
You're correct. There has been no formal internal affairs complaint made against Detective Weiss. Captain Sabo has addressed the supervisors. Protocol, he does his business with his supervisors. But until there's a formal complaint made with internal affairs, nothing on Detective Weiss.
So there's nothing, because now I extended my question because I was hoping that wasn't the case. I'm not what you call a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not the person that would just think that the government will have my best interest also. I'm somewhere in the middle. And a conspiracy theorist had a conversation with me, and they said that the job of a police officer is to serve and protect, but it's not to serve and protect the general public. It's to serve and protect the administration. And basically, the administration. And you guys looking and hearing about an officer that's running rampant in the city after shooting a teenager and paralyzing him, and still running rampant, and you won't act on it, at least look into it, until one of the community members have a form. Now, maybe the community's intimidated by it, intimidated by his actions, so he could possibly shoot somebody else again, and then we'll get a formal complaint before you guys move on it. When I'm asking you guys, I'm asking Captain Miller, I asked Captain Sabo to look into this officer. You know, if a police officer's job is to create revenue for you guys, let us know that. We'll take care of each other then. But if their job is to serve and protect the people, you guys should look into this, because this is a major concern. This is the only question I had today, and I really need some results. And I really need this officer, at least I respect Officer Sable, because he did hear what I said for the first time I'm catching him in a meeting, but he took a stand on it. He took a stand on it, he took action. Compared to Captain Miller, he just says the same thing, it's almost robotic. And we need somebody to take some action. Look into this officer. I'm not saying what I'm hearing is right, or you don't have to believe what I actually see with my own eyes. Maybe you should dig into it and maybe see what you can find out to get this officer to comply with the community. They don't agree with him right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the public wishes to address? Just come into the microphone, state your name and address.
Mark Lanzo, 380 George Street. Back in April, when I first came to this meeting here, I brought to your attention two problems, safety issues. One was the need of a merge sign on the southbound side of 27 between Nelson Street and George Street. The city engineer said that that was in the process. This was in April. I'd like to know an update on that.
Mr. Bolton, do you have any updates?
No, I do not. What has happened so far?
Can you, for the next meeting, if it's possible, to give us an update on that specific, because I know we talked about it, that it was kind of a tricky intersection there, and that you're going to look at it and see.
Yes, I will for the next meeting.
Thank you.
I honestly don't recall the inquiry.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And the other issue also I brought up back in April was anticipating more people on the streets during the summertime, children on the streets during the summertime, is the unfortunate location of the benches on George Street between Livingston Avenue and Albany, the majority of which are only 2 feet or less from the curb and facing the buildings, not facing the street where they can be, whatever advanced knowledge of traffic, the very good chance of a car jumping the curb. If that were to happen, it would be terrible, of course, and the benches would be removed the next day. But I would hope at this point or sometime soon that that would be expedited, that there'd be less benches and the remaining benches be placed against the buildings, looking out towards the street as they are between New Street and Livingston Avenue, between at 303 and 317 George Street. This is a very important issue. I said to Mr. Hamilton, this would be a terrible way for him to end his career, to have something like this happen, to have a tragedy. And there'd be no excuse for it, because I brought it to your attention. You're all aware of it, the engineer is aware of it. These benches need to be moved. There doesn't need to be a study on this. There should be less of them, and they should be moved to a safe location. All you need, is, as I said before, is a bus driver distracted, or just he sneezes and closes his eyes, the bus is on the curb. Whoever's on that bench is gone. And it's something that can be taken care of right after the July 4th holiday, to look at the benches there, take 1 week to look what benches need to be there, what benches do not need to be there, and where should they be placed in place of that. Thank you.
I just want to make you aware that they did go, because at the next meeting they reported on the benches that I believe Mr. Lachlan and Mr.
I might have missed that meeting then.
They went there and they reported on the benches that you have gone out, and it was found to be appropriate, right?
After Mr. Lansdorf complained, I inspected the benches with Tom Goulden and the consulting engineer on the project. I gave everyone on council written advice relative to that. The consensus of the group was that the benches were in fact properly placed. We recognize that an accident can happen. Many different types of accidents can happen. We don't for 1 second want to put the public at undue risk, but we believe that the benches have been positioned in almost every case with a shade tree or some other street furniture protecting the bench. It was the recommendation of the consulting engineer to position the benches facing the buildings. We didn't find that recommendation to be unreasonable. We didn't find it to be risky. You know, again, my written recommendation to you was that I respect the opinion, and I respect the thought that someone could, a vehicle could jump a curb. A vehicle could jump a curb and end up in, you know, one of the outdoor cafes as well. I thought we did our due diligence on it and have no desire to put anyone at undue risk. You know, the corridor is 25 miles an hour. Left turns are not allowed on the corridor. We put the bus shelters off the main cartway when we redesigned the roadway. I can never sit here and tell you that an accident is not going to happen, but Mr. Lansdorf should at least know that we went back out and revisited the matter, and I've given you written recommendation.
Thank you. I just wanted you to be aware that they did follow up on you.
I didn't know that, but I will reiterate though that, and I can bet you $5, that's all I can afford, that if there is an accident, the benches will be moved.
Thank you. Next, thank you, Mayor Hernandez.
My name is Bruce Curry. I work with Johnson & Johnson. And just first of all, I want to thank the council for, this is something new this year, where we had to come and ask for approval to use the park. We've done I had a track meet for 24 years at the New Brunswick Junior High now, on Livingston. And we take care of it's around 200 youths. We work with Joetta Clark Diggs, I think you know Joe Clark at the Patterson School. It's a 4-time Olympian. And she does this event like a workshop during the week for the kids around encouraging behavior, education, and just being physical, but also we made it into more of a family event. So it's going to happen Saturday, encouraging everybody here, people with your family who got young kids or grandkids or whatever to attend that event. And we'll be doing it every year just to keep the youth off the street. But I just want to thank the council for addressing it and letting them know we are trying to do some positive things in the community and partnering with the actually, New Brunswick Recreation Group. We did a soapbox derby about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it became a nice family event. So I see New Brunswick doing some good things, and when I was young, I mean, that kind of got me off the street. It's just, adults like us trying to do some positive things and not all this negative stuff we do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Jose Negron, 272 Sanford Street. I want to say good evening to the panel. All you guys are looking at me like, oh, there go this guy again. Like, what he got to say now? Same thing. So this is what I'm here for. First of all, where I live at 272 Sanford, 268 Sanford Street, in the parking, his driveway, some guy put a legal banner there. Bolted to the ground, bolted, got some bolts sticking out, a bunch of kids out there riding bikes, and one of them kids could get if one of them bolts sticking out, get a hold of one of them kids, if one on a bike, it could be real
263 Sanford?
No, I think it's 268 Sanford Street. Yeah, see if you guys can do something about that. The second thing is, I'm gonna start off by commencing Tomel. Tomel had I don't know how you guys view him, but he had a day of remembrance out there, you know, for all the kids that got murdered and all. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But to me, it was special having lost, you know, my son. And I think it took a lot of work in her. And I just like, it would have been nice to see some more support for her. You know, like again, like, I don't know. I ain't seen none of you guys there. And I'm sure, you know, it wasn't the first time he said it, but it would have been nice to see somebody from the panel there showing support, you know, letting the public know that you guys not only sitting here, sitting down, like, that you guys care. You know, but you guys probably have plans to do or out of town, but I see it's like, what, 8, 9, 10 of you guys. Like, one of you guys should have said, hey, I'm going to be there representing us, you know? That would have been nice. You know, but
We have the information.
well, I don't know. It was in front of City Hall. What more information you need, you know? So, and you know, also it wasn't like, I don't know, I ain't seen no police officers running around either, like, you know, no type of security was there. I did see a police officer riding by checking license plates or something like that. You know, but, and it's another thing that really, like, I really want to sit down there and just don't say nothing, just like, I don't want to show, because, you know, I feel that I'm a decent person and approachable, and you know, I already apologized to you guys for my outburst the first time I was here. And I sincerely really mean that I apologize, you know? Because, you know, you gotta understand, I lost a son, you know? I don't know if you guys can understand that, but, you know, that's like a fire that never, you know, that's never gonna shut off. And so my emotions get deep into this sometimes, you know what I mean? And, you know, like, the thing is that, like, you know, I work 8 hours a day. I work 8 hours a day, and I do some heavy work. And after that, I try to run to the gym, and I give my time to these kids free of charge. I'm there like 3 hours. I even work with mentally retarded kids. You know, I even had to do New Brunswick. One of them sites come over there, take pictures, do a story on that. More than I can almost say for some of you guys. Like, I don't see you guys working with kids, but I do. But here's the thing that really kind of bothered me. But I have no control over that, because in this last few days, one of you guys in this panel seen one of the guys that I work with in the gym, and you label me as a live wire. But you didn't only label me as a live wire, you labeled me as a live wire with saying that I can't be around kids because I'm a live wire, and that type of stuff might, you know, reflects to these kids. So, you know, more or less, they put what I like in jeopardy by planting a seed of negativity on something that I like. Because why? Because I came here and spoke my opinion. Did I get loud and emotional? Yeah, and I apologize for that. But at no time I've never called nobody names or disrespected nobody. I'm not a live wire. I'm approachable. I actually speak to the mayor. The mayor's aide gave me a date, and I went there and I spoke with him for an hour, calm, and he would tell you, calm, cool. And you know, we talk like two civilized men. So I don't understand why I'm being, not that it really bothers me, because I have no control what you call me. But, you know, now you planning to see on something that I like. I'm dealing with kids. And the way you said that live wire thing, anyway, you guys know who you are. That live wire thing was like keep him away from the kids. He's poison for the kids.
Well, I don't know who said that.
I don't either. I really don't care who said it.
But I just wanted, you said that nobody was working with kids, I work with kids. As a matter of fact, on Monday and Tuesday.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you speaking too fast.
That you just mentioned that nobody works with kids here, and I just want you to be aware that I do. And Monday and Tuesday, I just went with 50 kids from New Brunswick to a campsite in Pennsylvania as the beginning of to start a summer program in Monday. So we have to be careful.
Yeah, probably I did. I'll take that back, and I apologize to you. Because you're right, just like you guys don't see what I do, I don't see what you guys do.
Yeah.
You know, what I don't do is label any of you guys as, are you unfair to me and to the public sometimes? That you gotta have the job to do. You have to stand your ground. And you can't please everybody. But because you're not pleasing me, I'm not calling you names and labeling you bad to your co-workers. So I don't expect the same thing. You know, you guys are politicians. You guys are trusted by the public to do the right thing. So, you know, just like, you know, you guys voted in, you guys can be voted out too.
Absolutely.
If you don't do what you know, what you voted to do.
Absolutely. Well, what I will say is that I don't know who said the comment, but on behalf of the school, whoever made it, I apologize on behalf of them.
It's not,
And as a matter of fact, I was gonna, if anybody made it, and the other thing is that, the other day when you came, the last meeting, you left real quick, and I was looking for you, because I wanted to talk to you about your expertise with boxing, with one of my groups that I wanted, so let's talk after the meeting, so I can take my kids, so you could come to us, and,
Anyway.
to my kids and do it, right? Thank you for bringing it up, and I thank you for your apologies also.
again, I apologize if I offended anybody or came the wrong way. I'm approachable. That's my friend right there. I was but anyway, enjoy your 4th of July.
Thank you, you too.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Anybody else from the board, want you to swear with, anybody else?
Real quick. I have another question. I'm a little confused with, was New Brunswick, one of the first cities to celebrate 4th of July?
One of the first things?
I think some
Yeah, right.
reports suggest the first.
The first, right? At the instruction of George Washington, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I'm not sure who it's.
Yeah, I think so. I'm saying, maybe next year, let's, being that we are the first, and I'm born and raised in New Brunswick, that's big to me, you know? Maybe we can do it big next year, something.
It's gonna be big.
The 5th, though, the 5th, right?
No, the
The
7th.
7th, yeah,
We're
that's
gonna
what
read
I'm
the
talking
Declaration of Independence.
about. Huh?
We're gonna be reading the Declaration of Independence.
And also, since we were the first, they said, Stan, that you had a green bow in your head, in your hat. Do some research.
Thank you, Mr. Pittman. Can I entertain a motion for adjourn?
So moved, motion to adjourn.
Oh, sir, you wanted to talk?
George Dawson, 12 Llewellyn Place, City of Storey. 325 years ago, George Washington brought the American Army to New Brunswick following the Battle of Monmouth for a few days of rest and relaxation. And while here, he ordered a special celebration of the 4th of July. It's the second anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and it's the first official act declaring a holiday for the 4th of July. First celebration, official celebration of the 4th of July. So it happened here.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
There's a program tomorrow
Can I get some
at
props?
1:30 at
Can I get some props?
State House. And also a program on Sunday, and there'll be Ken Ball, who will replicate the salute to the 4th, which George Washington ordered.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that information.
Quick, before we close, last Thursday, I had the privilege of attending the graduations for the Health and Sciences and for the high school. And Health and Sciences, about 30-something kids graduated, and we talk about commending people. There was I think every single person in that graduating class was going on to either a 4-year school or a 2-year school. And we sat and we listened to the valedictorian, the salutatorian, and these kids were phenomenal. They did a video presentation of what everybody was going to be doing in all the classes, and these kids were really doing some things. Also, the graduation, high school graduated 300 and something students. And when I looked and had a chance to sit down and talk to them, these kids, they asked everybody to stand up that was going to either a 4-year school or a 2-year school. And it was just phenomenal. Everybody that's going to the school, then they asked everybody that's going to the military. And every single kid, there was not a kid left not standing. And a lot of times we hear about the negativity that people will put out and say what our schools aren't doing, but our schools have to be doing something good to have this many kids going on to 4-year schools, 2-year schools, into the military and doing positive things. And when I looked at them and had a chance to sit down and talk to them, I didn't see hopelessness, I didn't see excuses. I saw hope, and there's a lot of hope for the future of the kids in this city. And in just a few short years, they're going to be adults in this city making major decisions.
Excellent. And I went to the New Brunswick Middle School, and I graduated 363 kids who will be going in as a freshman to the high school next, in September. So we're doing a great job. There was a motion, there was a second. Roll call?
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Thank you.